When fall of Kabul happened, it not just happened for the people who live there. It happened for the people who are outside of the country. For myself, who just saw Afghanistan for 9 days in my life. For someone who heard about Afghanistan all the time from my father, from my mom, and the family member who loved the country. Today, I'm here to not tell you what's happening that day. How many women, men, children lost their opportunities. How many days right now their schools are closed there. Today, I'm here to tell you what's happening after fall of Kabul. After August 15, many people, thousands of people, opened their doors and arms, especially in Connecticut. I saw how hard and how nice people give hand to hands to helping our people here. A sponsorship group shape up. Legal team got together. Food distribution planning. Many agencies start preparing and welcoming start. I saw a real face of United States. I saw a real face of humanity on this city in New Haven. And I saw hope is everywhere. 5 years later, we are here to not just remember the sadness of those moments, to remember the women that we have around us, the family around us, how they impact the community. We have refugee immigrants from New Haven going to Harvard, going to Southern Connecticut State University, Gateway Community College, University of New Haven, and making change and impact, not just on their life, also on their family lives in Afghanistan and here, helping many New Haven community by volunteering, working, spending time on helping each other. I just want to tell you, refugees are not a burden. Refugees are an investment in the future of our country. My staff and I have worked alongside refugee women and families, from learning English, education, health, advocacy, and legal rights, workforce opportunities, and leadership development. And we are not finished. We are expanding because our community needs our support. Our women need pathway to employment, entrepreneurship. Our community needs safe and peaceful place where people can learn, connect, grow, and thrive. And that is why today means so much to me. Senator Blumenthal, thank you. Thank you to Jenn and Brian for being here and supporting. Thank you to Senator Gaston, Representative Rosa DeLora, and all our elected leaders for listening. To Mohammad, my brother, and my sister Sahar, thank you for sharing your stories. To Sean, thank you for your dedication, your time, and your energy, and to continue to stand up for the Afghan partners and soldiers. You have worked so far with them. Kawser, thank you for coming all the way from California, from CHIRLA, for standing years advocating for Afghan families and being voice of our community. To John, Director of RCUSA, my mentor in refugee leadership, thank you for coming from Boston to stand with us. To Sister Mary, thank you for hearing the legal struggle of immigration families and responding with patience, compassion, and action. And to every person in Connecticut who opened a door, opened a job, offered a job, taught a class, donated, volunteered, welcomed a neighbor, or simply said, you are belong here. For many people, August 15 was a headline. For Afghan, it was the moment our lives changed forever. But today, we saw how impactful and grateful we are to be here in Connecticut and helping and supporting our neighbors. It was my pleasure to have you today. We are planning to do this event every year to be a voice. And my wish is for next year when we are talking with you, tell you more great news about the community that we are working with. Again, thank you so much everyone for being here and supporting us.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Good. Okay. No? Sorry, I'm quite tall. Sorry to start with a bit of a disappointment, but I'm obviously not Senator Murphy. My name is Jenn, and I'm the legislative director for the senator in Washington, D.C.
Can you put the microphone up a little?
Sorry. He sent me along with regrets that he couldn't be here today. Thank you so much. I would have knocked that over. And when we looked at the topic that was assigned to us, I think he would have a lot to say about that, and I wish that you could hear that from him. I'm not as well versed as him, so I'll leave those words for him. But I think what we decided we wanted to reinforce at a staff level was just the importance of a pathway to citizenship, especially now when so many of our friends and our neighbors and our families are afraid and many of their temporary statuses are being taken away. There should be a permanent pathway to a durable solution, and we just wanted to reinforce the citizenship as a part of the conversation. And I won't say much more than that because we have other great speakers to hear from, but we really appreciate the invite. The senator's sorry he can't be here, and happy to talk with anyone else after this. Thank you for your advocacy, for the focus on this issue, and for inviting us.
Alrighty. So it's so good to see all of you here. I want to make sure that I came all the way from Bridgeport to New Haven because this issue is critically important. You know, I am a son of an immigrant who came to this country for a better life for himself and for his family. We are a nation of immigrants, and this actually is what democracy looks like. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said that an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are our brothers and sisters, and we have to make sure that we're looking out for humanitarian concerns all across the world where there is an injustice. To hear the story that was shared with us earlier from Elena's Light is incredibly inspiring. We know that a lot of our refugees are ill-treated, who also contribute much to the global economic marketplace, to many of our communities like New Haven, and they deserve to be treated with dignity and with respect. As it was mentioned by Senator Murphy's aide, who talked about a pathway to citizenship. We see now at the federal government at every turn, they are undoing humanity. And we have to fight back because power never belongs to those in position. Power belongs to the people. And when we make noise, things begin to change. And I believe that with having the fighters that we have that represents Connecticut, like Senator Blumenthal, they fight indefatigably to make sure that the issues that you raise here today are elevated in Congress, and so we can make a difference. I like the fact that Elena's Light focused on education. You know, education truly is the bridge to the future. It is the cornerstone by which our success so heavily depends upon. It is important that future generations are educated to help lift themselves, their family from poverty, and to address some of the social ills of our society and what is going on around the world. And so I want to say to all of you, thank you so much for having me at the state legislature. I will continue to amplify the voices of those that are here for immigrant communities all across the state of Connecticut. And barring none, this issue is one of the top issues for many of us in the legislature. And I want you to know that we stand alongside you, and we're here to be advocates for you to move the pendulum forward in the right direction of helping to ensure that inclusivity is for all. Thank you.
I am not as tall. Apostle immigrant, can you hear me?
I can hold your back to it.
A little closer. Okay, people. Apostle Immigrant Services exists to partner with immigrants in Connecticut, but in particular New Haven and the surrounding towns. And our idea in our legal services provision is to work with others so that they can achieve stability, safety, security, and move toward the dreams that brought them and their family members to the United States in the first place. And I've been asked to talk about the current state of affairs in Connecticut. And I think I have to speak a little more broadly than just Connecticut, because we're dealing with an agency or multiple agencies affecting immigrants and their family members throughout the United States. There are many factors that are keeping our clients from being united with their families. Currently, there's 75 countries in the world in which there is an absolute ban on giving people immigrant visas. And no statement as to when this is going to be up, what criteria will be applied to lift it. And in one case that is dearer to my heart, a gentleman whom I've worked with for over a decade, and we have worked to bring his family here together. His mother is languishing in their home country without him, without her grandchildren, because solely of this ban. We know that if we move forward to get her interview scheduled, at the end of that interview, she'll be denied for no real reason, keeping families separated. The changing, almost daily, changing of immigrant policies, procedures, decisions from the Department of Justice's immigration court system seem to have the opposite goal from what Apostle Immigrant Services was founded to do: to turn people away, to keep families separated, to keep people from achieving the security and stability they need so that they can contribute even more, not only to themselves and their families, but to the communities around them. And that is a difficult thing. I'm happy to say we can also celebrate victories for our clients in those cases that actually make it through the system, because that system is trying to grind ever more slowly. The other situation of immigrants in Connecticut and in everywhere, particularly those who are connected either themselves without permanent status here, or have family members, loved ones, friends in that situation, comes from not just this slowdown in processes that would help people achieve that status, but also from the brutal and often, in my opinion, unlawful behavior of immigration, customs enforcement, and other federal agencies that is meant not simply to enforce laws, which sometimes they seem to ignore, but appears to be meant to instill fear in our people, to instill uncertainty, to make people turn away or hide. New Haven, we will hear about what New Haven does for immigrants. But this is the time for everyone in our communities to step up in solidarity, to turn against the drumbeat of negativity about immigrants who contribute so much to our country, our city, our neighborhoods, to us as individuals. As the daughter of an immigrant, this is something that is very personal for me. When I think of what my father, my great-grandmother, my other family members contributed out of struggle. I finally want to give one particular shout out, and that And I know that we will have a colleague later on who has far greater knowledge of this. But since we are here on the anniversary of the tragic fall in Kabul, I wanted to bring out the particularly bad treatment given to a segment of the Afghan population, all of whom cannot get visas. They are among the countries that are just across the board banned. But that includes people who risked their lives to stand with our troops as interpreters. And they were told we wouldn't forget them. We have not forgotten them. We have put them in a worse position than they were before. And not only they, but the soldiers who made those promises to the men who were risking their lives to make the soldiers safer, they are being disrespected as well. So hopefully we'll see change in that. And now we'll hear about New Haven's responses.
Of immigrants, and we ought to be proud of our immigrant heritage and welcome people from other countries. The people you just saw coming out of the federal courthouse were among the families who have just come from immigration and naturalization ceremonies. They're held on Fridays and they're ongoing right now inside here. Normally I would be attending them, but I'm here today to say thank you to Elena's Light and to remind all of us, you know, America made promises during the war in Afghanistan. The promises were to the translators and the interpreters, the guards, the soldiers who fought and served alongside our diplomats and our military men and women. They helped keep them safe. These Afghan allies helped to protect our soldiers and diplomats at a time when they were in extraordinary danger, and now they have targets on their back. Taliban is out to get them. They need help, and most of all, they need America to keep its word. And right now, this administration is breaking its word to those at-risk Afghan allies, breaking its word to the refugees who are in other countries waiting to come here, and even to refugees here right now seeking permanent status. Revoking their humanitarian parole is absolutely unconscionable. This administration is cruel and craven in its treatment of immigrants generally, but most especially our Afghan at-risk allies who face death and torture if they are sent back to Afghanistan, and equally harsh conditions in many places of the world if they are deported there. So we need to stand strong in favor of Afghans and all refugees and asylum seekers who are here in this country essentially seeking the safety and protection of the United States, most especially Afghan allies who served and protected our troops and our diplomats, our people abroad. We can't expect others to do it for us in the future if we don't keep our promises to these allies who have helped us already in the past. They deserve and they need fairness and justice, and that's why we're here today. Again, thank you to Elena's Light for all that it has done on resettlement, education, and on the great causes that you have served. Thank you so much.
I'm Lindy Gold. I'm professionally with the Connecticut State Department of Economic and Community Development, and happy to represent New Haven's Economic Development Department at this time. New Haven is proudly one of the leaders in being a sanctuary city. But more than sanctuary, it's welcoming, it's supportive, and has watched people like Elena rise to leadership in our community. not just contributing, but leading the way, finding education at Gateway and elsewhere, helping others as they have been helped, and giving their children a voice as well. Our neighbors are united, and as a group, we will continue to support and befriend and uplift this community and all of our refugee communities, and thank them for being here, contributing to the wonderful diversity and the economy of our city and our state. And last of all, I would be remiss if I didn't express all of our gratitude to Senator Blumenthal, who truly represents the best of what this country stands for.
Today I wanted to bring coast-to-coast perspective from California to New Haven. 5 years after fall of Kabul, the Afghan community continue to face significant uncertainty. For many Afghans, evacuation was not end of journey. It was the beginning of new difficult time, and also including family reunification, housing, employment, education, and challenges, resettlement here in the US. Throughout my work with CHIRLA, Coalition for Human Immigrant Rights, and the broader immigrant right movement across California and the different states, I have worked closely with the cities, counties, state legislature, congressional offices, community-based organizations, resettlement agencies, service providers, and faith leaders and community partners to promote welcoming, inclusion, and advance justice, and support policies to create a meaningful and lasting change and impact in our community. This work required all of us working together across different sectors and collaborate a circle of advocacy and also partnership for our community's good. CHIRLA work always been inclusive of all immigrants, advocating for immigrant rights and social movement justice and grassroots in the city and local level, and also make sure that our voice is heard. This year, CHIRLA is marking 40 years, and we're celebrating our 40 years of present and immigrant right justice movement. It is not just about the celebration, it is about our collective action and commitment for our community in the past 40 years. With saying that, as a last leave behind message from me as a Californian, as a children of immigrant, as an advocate, as a displaced, as a mother, as an Afghan American, to support each other, and also urging our legislators to support Afghan TPS Act, HR 9899, to make sure that Afghans who are here, they are protected, and the Afghans who are left behind outside of the US, thinking and dreaming of a safest journey and life here in the US, not forgotten. 5 years after fall of Kabul, families deserve safety. The family deserve dignity, stability, and opportunity to rebuild their life in the US. From California to Connecticut, our message should be clear. Refugees not only welcome in our community, they become part of the fabric in our communities. Thank you. With saying that, I would like to pass it to John.
Well, good afternoon. It's now afternoon. I heard the bells. My name is John Slocum. I'm the executive director of an organization called Refugee Council USA, or RCUSA. We're an umbrella association of 40 national nonprofits that serve with, alongside, and advocate for and with refugees and other forcibly displaced people. It's an honor to share this podium with Senator Blumenthal, State Senator Gaston, and so many distinguished guests. And thank you, Fereshteh, for the invitation today. I'm going to talk a little bit about defending and reimagining at a time when the refugee resettlement system had been hard hit by the double whammy of COVID and a profound contraction imposed by the first Trump administration. 5 years ago, everyone rose to the occasion. A revamped resettlement system ultimately served not only Afghans, but many thousands of other refugees from around the world. But look at where we are today. We've not only failed the entire refugee program, admitting to this country as refugees essentially only one population, white South Africans. Over 100,000 vulnerable refugees that were in the pipeline have been stranded abroad. For those refugees already in the U.S., the administration has stripped access to food and medical benefits. And ICE has begun arresting, detaining, and threatening to deport resettled refugees who have not yet obtained their green cards. This is a stain on our country's reputation and an insult to the majority of Americans who believe our country should continue providing safe haven to those fleeing war and persecution. When we turn our backs on refugees, that negative example encourages other countries to do the same. And turning our backs on refugees is turning our backs on our own humanity. Refugee Council USA is working hard to defend and reinstate the principles underlying refugee resettlement. We call for a full resumption of refugee processing and resettlement under a non-discriminatory framework that protects the most at-risk refugees. We've mobilized a multi-stakeholder task force on the future of refugee resettlement. The task force is working thoughtfully and deliberately to plan for a better future. We envision a future U.S. refugee program that is community-centered, resilient, and inclusive. For 250 years, it is our capacity to welcome newcomers that has made America great. The World Cup provides a recent example of how joyful it is to welcome those from around the world. Earlier this week, I learned that lesson all over again for myself. I spent 3 wonderful days in Washington, D.C. with a remarkable group of emerging leaders, 36 young refugees in the country for no more than 5 years, the largest group of them from Afghanistan. They were all part of a young refugee leadership training program. They've done projects to help their own community. They've reached out and made friendships and partnerships all over the country. They come from 20 states of the U.S. It fills me with hope to see their dedication to lifting up others and making this country a better place. So it's a solemn anniversary today, but let's also rededicate ourselves to the joy of welcoming refugees. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mohammad, and I am speaking today as an Afghan who found home in this community. But as a son, a brother, and someone who has watched what's happening to the women of my country from thousands of miles away and refuses to stay silent. I want to talk about 3 things today. How life was for Afghan women before the Taliban. Now, Afghanistan was not a perfect country. Afghan women were doctors before 2021. They were judges. They sat in the parliament. They ran newsroom, and they taught university classes. My own memories of Kabul was seeing women walking to work, seeing girls walking to school, and with backpacks like anywhere else in this world. It wasn't easy and it wasn't equal everywhere. Afghanistan is a big country with many different realities. But door was open. Women were building the future of the country right alongside men. Now, today, that door has been slammed shut, one decree at a time. Afghanistan is now the only country on the earth that formally bans girls from the school past 6th grade and bans women from university entirely. Millions of girls have simply stopped learning. Women have been pushed out of almost every profession, including, in many cases, medicine, which means Afghan women are now dying because there is no one left to treat them. New decrees have stripped women of legal equality in marriage, made it necessarily impossible for a woman to leave an abusive husband, and opened the door to child marriage by removing any minimum age. Half of all of Afghan women now leave their home only once or twice a month. Most say they are afraid to step outside without a male guardian. This isn't culture. This isn't tradition. Human rights organizations around the world have started calling this, what is it called, gender apartheid. And now what it should be. And here is what I need to people to understand. This is not Islam. When a little girl is married off to an old man and never allowed to see a classroom, that is not religion. That is the culture of a specific people in a specific parts of the country. And it existed long before the Taliban ever took the power. My own family saw this up very close. My parents owned a private school back home in Kabul. And I did some research myself while I was still there, looking at how many students actually graduated from school across different parts of the country in areas connected to Kabul. I want to say more than 300,000 people, like students, graduated in the past 20 years of democracy. And there were areas that was less than 200 graduate a year. Same country, same religion, completely different outcome. That gap tells you everything. It was never Islam holding girls back. It was culture, tribal control, and now the Taliban enforcing the same culture on the entire country force. The very first word revealed in the Quran was Iqra. Read. That command was not addressed only to men. Islamic history is full of women who read, who thought, who led. Khadija, the Prophet's own wife, was a successful businesswoman. She employed the Prophet before she married him. Aisha, after the Prophet passing, became one of the greatest scholars in early Islam. Men and women both traveled to learn from her. Islam gave women the right to own property, to inherit, to work, to be educated, to consent to marriage and to divorce. Rights that were revolutionary 1400 years ago, and that some parts of the world are still catching up to. When the Taliban practices not the religion I grew up with, it's the tribal control, fear, and power dressed up in religion language to make it harder to challenge. And I want to say this clearly, as a Muslim, you do not get to lock a girl out of a classroom and call it Islam. You do not get to strip a woman of her right to leave a marriage and call it Islam. You do not get to erase the woman from public life and call it Islam. That's not faith. That's the opposite of it. So today, on the 5th anniversary of Kabul, I'm asking this community to remember something. When we say whom is human right, that has to include the millions of Afghan girls and women still living under a system built to erase them. Supporting Afghan families here in New Haven matters, and so does refusing to look away from what's happening back home. Thank you for standing with us, and thank you for not staying silent either.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sahar, and I'm a student at the University of New Haven. Today we are here for, I'll never forget them, never ever to the end of my life. 5 years since the day that many families lost the lives that they had built with so much effort. 5 years since many young people lost the futures that they were planning to build for themselves. After those nights and days that I spent back in Afghanistan, I finally made it out of there, and now I'm standing here in Connecticut, USA. And of course, it brings me a joy, but it also, I will always feel this guilt of not being able to be with them or to do something for them because I'm far away. And this will always make me sad. When I arrived here, I came here with a lot of dreams, but I also came with a lot of uncertainty. When I wanted to continue my education here in the United States, my financial resources were not enough to pay for my school. But I could not let these circumstances stop me and hold me back from what I was here for. I left my country, my homeland, my family, for just like getting education and doing something that maybe in the future I can return back or to do something for my country. And then I had to make a difficult choice, either to stay at home or to take a student loan. And it was a risk for me, and you all know that taking a loan here in the United States has a lot of its negative sides and positive sides. So, but I was willing to take any risk just so I could study a little more, and I did that. I want people to understand, like people here around me and whoever hears this, that refugees are not here just to receive from this country. We are here to give it back. And I would also like to talk about those Afghan young people and girls who are out here, who are currently here. It's a harsh reality that back in Afghanistan, back in the country, women and girls cannot go to school, they cannot work, they don't even have a choice to live. But those who are here, can we make it better for them? Can we do something that they can get education, they can continue why they're here for? Many of us are working, many of us are studying, many of us are volunteering, many of us are paying rents. We are trying everything just to coordinate and contribute to the society and give it back to the society that welcomed us. So just a scholarship, a mentor, a sponsor, or just even a simple thought of supporting and believing in a student can change the direction of a whole life. Aside from that, I would like to thank the community of New Haven for always being supportive, for welcoming all of us and showing us what community means everyone truly means to them. And aside from that, I would like to thank my university, University of New Haven, for helping me and my other teammates, other fellows to get education here, and the sponsors and supporters who supported them. They did not just allowed us or helped us attend a university, they kept a dream of having a future alive in us. And that is what home is a human right means to me. And lastly, I would like to say that I hope we can continue being that home to every immigrant. It doesn't matter if it's an Afghan or anyone. I hope we can continue being a home to all of these immigrants, refugees, families, and whoever who is trying to rebuild their life from zero. Thank you so much.
so much, everyone. We have two wonderful videos from Sean, who sent it from California to us, and one video from dear Rosa Derora. Unfortunately, the TV is not working, but we have a networking hours from 1 to 2 here inside of New Haven City Hall. I would love to invite you all. Please joining us. There will be some food, and we're going to be happy to welcome you. And also, we can play those videos inside the building from 1 to 2 p.m. after my last closing remarks, which is called to action. Okay. As you know, 5 years after Taliban, we have a responsibility. We cannot allow Afghan families to disappear from the national conversation. We cannot forget the people who stood beside America. They served as interpreters, educators, contractors, advocates, and partners. They believe in America. And when they stood with America, America promised not to abandon them. Today, we are asking America to keep that promise. We need safe pathway to protection. We need family reunification. We need education. We need legal support. We need a stability for family rebuilding their lives here. And we need our elected leaders to remember. This is not only an immigration issue. This is a human issue. This is a moral responsibility. So today, I have a simple call to action. To our elected leaders, please act. Protect Afghan families who are still waiting for safety and stability in several camps across the world. Support humanitarian pathway, family reunification, education, and legal protection. To our Connecticut community, keep opening doors. Hire refugee, mentor a family, support a small business, volunteer, donate, help a woman learn English, help a child going to school, pursue an education, and most importantly, use your voice. Call your representative to tell them that Afghan families must not be forgotten, because remembering is important, but remembering without action is not enough. To the Afghan women and girls watching today, your story did not end when Kabul fell. Your dreams did not end. Your voice did not disappear. You are still here. And to our children, you belong here. You are dreamers. Your dreams are matter. Your education matters. Your voice matters. Your future matters. 5 years ago, the world watched Kabul fall. Today, let the world watch Afghan women rise. Let Connecticut continue to be a place where Afghan families are welcomed, supported, and given the opportunity to thrive. Let America be a country that keeps the promise, and let our children to not have the fear of their parents, but their courage. So when we leave here today, don't just remember August 15. Make that phone call, send the email, open a door, support the family, use your voice, stand with Afghan women, stand with refugee families, stand to education, stand for human rights, because Kabul may have fallen, but our hope did not, our courage did not, our dreams did not. And our fight for dignity, education, freedom, and human rights will not end. 5 years later, we are still here, and we are still rising. Thank you so much.